In this video, I will be looking at this article concerning Volkswagen Beetle. So, this article was published on the June 14, 2024 by, is it Ayin Rios? I don't know how to pronounce it, but this is the site /gears. I'm going to post the link so that later you can go and read it up. So, here's 11 reasons a classic Volkswagen Beetle is still worth buying today. So, it's a recent article. Memories. It's honestly. Okay, let's continue. It said, despite how enticing a brand new car might be, not everyone is interested in driving the newest and the flashiest vehicle. Yes, I agree with him. I believe it was written by a man. Okay, even if a used vehicle is at the top of your list, there is no reason your daily driver has to be boring. Um, if you are considering buying an older car, there are a number of reasons a Volkswagen Beetle is not only a smart purchase, but a fun one too. Okay, so um, a classic Volkswagen Beetle, think pre-1990, is an offbeat pick to be sure. But ask anyone who's driven one and they'll probably tell you that they don't regret it, whether it's daily driver or a conversation piece driven to Volkswagen event. A Beetle will turn heads. What I'll tell you is this: yes, I've used Beetle, not just test driven. I've used Beetle too, actually. Though it wasn't necessarily, uh, I didn't purchase them. It's something like I met in the family. I will get to that later. But I agree with him that if you use a Beetle, you will not regret it. Moving on. But well, I used the Beetle at the time when it was common, so it wasn't like it was turning head at that time. But right now, yeah, if you drive a Beetle, yeah, of course, it's going to turn head, especially a clean one. Even the one that is not clean is going to turn head, whichever condition of the car. Finding one in the good condition you want could be a challenge. Yes, I agree. But there's a good news. With 21.5 million first generation Beetles sold since 1945, there are plenty still on the road in the United States today. And that's not counting the modern Beetle or the later model years manufactured in Mexico. Personally, I don't consider this modern Beetle as, I won't say they are not Beetle, but it just, if you have used the other one, these are not, these are just, um, you could say, yeah, okay, they are better. I mean, it's the brand that will give it the name, but man, they are not the same. The driving experience. I've not driven one, but I expect it to be completely different. Because the other ones, they are not. They were just. I don't know. It's not necessarily basic, as in they were like. I don't know. It was one of the good experiences I've had. Let me put it that way. Okay. Whether it's completely restored, Volkswagen that is shown room ready, or one that you might have to push well home, as either you push or tow it home. Um, there are many reasons a classic Volkswagen Beetle is still worth buying in the modern times. So one of the reasons is a decent gas mileage. Um, I didn't come across this model of Beetle when I was using my, didn't come across this model. The one I use, that was in the family. Let me just leave it at that. That was in the family. That those ones, the dashboards, they even have dashboard. The one they didn't even have dashboard. Okay, call it dashboard anyway, but one was full metal. There was nothing like this. It was just no rubber on it. Even if it was maybe very small, tiny parts. So I don't know which production year this was. The CC. Okay. So there is no way a Volkswagen Beetle can compete with a modern hybrid, of course. But gas mileage in the classic car isn't awful, which is what I've been telling people when it comes to all these 504 with carburetor engines, 505. And then people keeps making them look like they were gas guzzlers. That's a wrong lie. Either you are lying or you are uninformed. These are not gas guzzlers, honestly. I'm talking as somebody who have used both 504, 505, even Beetle. Alright, achieving 25 miles per gallon isn't unheard of, depending on driving conditions. Oh, okay. So, achieving 25 miles per gallon isn't unheard of, depending on driving conditions, and I easily average higher than that in many years of driving 1972 Super Beetle. While gas was much cheaper then, 20 plus mile per gallon is competitive compared to many older vehicles and even newer, bigger cars. You see, okay, let me just probably say it now. So, um, in the family then, my father had uh, 1600, no, 1300, 1300, 1300 cc. Um, and how he bought the car was, of course, at that time he had his 504 GL, which he bought brand new. So someone that maybe I think he was at his workplace came from, I don't know, I think it was an Indian, right? But the person imported the car directly from Germany. So that one was not sold new in Nigeria or assembled new in Nigeria. So it was imported in Germany. This happened in the early 80s. So I imported it, and the person finished his work or mission in Nigeria. Then this happened in Katsina or Kaduna. Then Katsina was still under Kaduna State. So when the person was going back to his country, he now decided to sell the vehicle. So my father purchased the vehicle, but at that time he was using the 504 GL, and he didn't need a second car like back then in the casino. That's where we were staying then. So he was basically outside the town all the time. He hardly come. I mean, you could say about takes like a 7 days to 12 days to see him. He's always on the road in his 504 for one state of the country to another, from the northern part of Nigeria to the southern part and back. So, of course, the Beetle cannot serve that purpose. So, the only car that could serve the purpose was the GL. So, what he now did was he took the car, the 1300 Beetle, to my hometown and stored the car there. So, he parked it in a garage. So, what he was doing there was anytime, maybe every once in 2 months, 3 months, or thereabouts, he traveled to my hometown. He will park the GL. Of course, he will drive the GL to the hometown. He will park the GL, use this one while he will be in the hometown. When he's done with his business, he park the car again, store it again in the garage, and drive back to uh, Castana with the GL 504. So that's how he got the 1300. Then he bought the 1500 cc for my mother. Brand new. This one was all those Nigerian assembled. In the early 80s as well. Is it 84? No, not 84. They probably maybe 82, 81, thereabouts. Brand new one. Um, so so in other words, we had two in the family. So both both vehicles, they are carburetors. They have single barrel carburetors. I mean, they are like the most fuel economical car at that time. I can tell you as somebody who at the same time, even when I took over the GL from my father, those two Beetles were still there. So I could tell you as I would drive this one and drive the other one, but I wasn't like I say, I took over the GA. I started using GA. It basically became like my own personal car. But my father was more interested. At that time, he said he couldn't handle GL anymore. So he started using, remember, that 1300. Now he now went and picked it up. So I started using that one. So once in a while, of course, I'll drive the 1300, 1500, and all those things. So yeah, you could tell. No, he was kind of sharing the 1500 with my mother. The 1300 was still parked in my own town then. So yeah, I was driving both, and I could tell you the difference in fuel consumption between the GL 504 and the Beetle. So yeah, it was right to say it was among the best fuel economical car at that time. And when you compare it today, the difference with the modern cars is not that much. I'm being directly honest here. Okay. Um, According to various online sources, Volkswagen Beetle was said to get over 28 miles per gallon of the assembly. A self-titled expert on Polar claimed that the original KDF wagon, a pre-war Beetle, got 31.4 miles per gallon, while some Volkswagen owners suggest the original user manual said 28.5 miles per gallon. Remember, this miles per gallon is UK, UK owned, so, no, US. So if you use the UK, that means even this 25 miles per gallon will be about 30 something. So imagine, modern cars now average, like cars produced from 2000 till date, especially the naturally aspirated, we are looking at about 40 something miles per gallon on average. And this one has like, that's, I mean, the UK miles per gallon. And this has like that something. So what's the difference? Maybe five or a little bit more. So yeah, at that time, trust me, go and ask your father if he, even if he didn't own the Beetle then. I don't know how old you are. So I'm talking about people who um, were born in the 70s. We were born in the 70s or early 80s. Your father should know about this car, even if he didn't own one. But it was a common thing here in Nigeria that this was one of the best fuel economical car at that time. You know, trust me, I remember that time if I put like 4 liters, then we could buy fuel. Remember there were times there would be fuel scarcity. Then I'll go and use a gallon, which they call imperial gallon. That's 4 liter. That time, engine oil were being sold in 4 liter container, not five. It's recent that I now started getting 5 liter, 1 liter. Back then, it's just 4 liter. So, the imperial gallon, I think it's AP oil. That time was AP. Eventually, they now changed to, is it Total? Can't even remember. So imperial gallon, yeah, that's what we used to buy fuel in gallon. We put that 4 liters. You'll be surprised. Even then, when I was in university, Unizik, or university, now there's University. Sometimes I will probably my GM might break down. So remember, I was financially in charge of fixing the vehicle, or the maintenance. Everything was on me. So at the time, maybe I don't have enough money. Remember, it has to be for my pocket. What's it called? Pocket allowance or something. Trying to remember the right word there. So if you want them not to fix the issue, then sometimes my mother will say, "Oh, I use my car, as long as you fuel it." I'll buy 4 liter oil, 4 liter fuel, put it from where we are staying in off campus to campus to do lectures from Monday to Friday. The 4 liters will carry me as a see. It was a very good car in terms of fuel economy. They were designed for that. So and remember, it was a city drive. So I mean, from town to the city, those who live in Oka will tell you. Though depending, sometimes you could take the expressway, but sometimes you take that time. What's the name of this road? That take you to enter inside the campus through the second gate, which is behind the school. Okay, part of the fuel savings might admittedly be due to the fact that the Volkswagen Beetle doesn't come with onboard AC unit, plus other manual transmissions typically get higher gas mileage than an automatic. Even a gasoline version of the new Beetle, diesel is also available, doesn't get a combined rate of more than 24 miles per gallon. At that time in Nigeria, we none had automatic transmission. All the ones that were sold in Nigeria, Chris, brand new, none of them had automatic. They were all manual, 4-speed manual transmission. So, of course, AC. I mean, come on, the engine cannot even handle a long distance drive. Not to think of running AC. These are cars that are mere purely for city use, not for long distance drive. I mean, these are very tiny engines, and even remember the cooling system is kind of awkward. They have no coolant or water cooling the engines. So it relies on air to cool the engine while the car is in motion. So it's not a car you could start and let it to idle for a long time without putting the car in motion. You know, because as you are moving, the way they design the engine bay, which is at the back, not in the front, they did it such a way that air will be coming in and then come in and then go to the engine and then flow out again, which could become an issue on a very long journey. Over time, it may not be enough. As a way, it's a long thing. They designed even the bonnet or I'll call it the bonnet because even though it's at the back, so that air will pass through it while going out. So anyway, one caveat uh, is that my car at least run better on premium gas. If I use lower octane, the engine noise increase. There's already a big myth surrounding gasoline octane, so it's worth consulting your mechanic before supplying or changing things up. Well, those of us here in Nigeria, we didn't have the option of premium fuel or anything. Since the 70s, I knew about car, or 80s, and the rest. It has already been bad fuel till today. So uh, this is a convertible one. Um, it might be a less common reason to buy a classic Volkswagen, but the fact that you can let's look at, okay, this says easy electric conversion. No, I disagree. No, this kind of classic vehicle or vintage cars should be left original. I don't know why people do that. Most time when people, because they have money, they will just now that's what I'm saying. I said it in my previous video. I mean that these guys, when you start hitting millions of dollars or billions of naira, yeah, in that case, you want to separate yourself from the regular man. So in that case, you can only think of what are the unique cars all over the world. You start to gather them, not necessarily because you enjoy driving them, but you just want to be associated that, oh, I own this car. In that case, you start messing them up. I could also understand that it might be difficult for some people, depending on their locations, to be able to maintain cars like this with the original engine. Yeah, it will make sense that way. So in that case, the only way to keep these cars running is to convert them to electric. I know in the past, that time when I was still in Oka, you know, I'm talking about 90s. Yeah, in the late 90s or just in middle 90s or thereabout. People were converting that time the parts were available, oh, don't get me wrong. So people were converting theirs, their engine, because the engine kept overheating, having all kinds of issues and the rest. So especially I don't want to go into that detail, but engine issues. So they were converting it to there's this Volkswagen engines. Not Volkswagen, yeah, Volkswagen that you could actually use. Is it Golf engine? I can't remember. Where you can say connect, run it with water to cool the engine. It doesn't mean they still will not have that cooling system issue, but it appeared better. It had more. They will have more power and the rest. But then, because of the location of the engine, um, I know. I know that people did a lot of those kind of conversion, but it was still ICE. Some people put Japanese engines. So for me, I prefer it than electric. So this is one of the vents for the cooling of the engine as your motion air is coming in. No, there is a fan. There's a fan attached. We get to that part where you see the engine bay. There's a fan. I hope I'm correct. Can't remember. There's a fan blade attached on the engine. Honestly, I'm trying to remember now what it looks like, but we'll check it out anyway. So, I don't agree with this electric thing for classic vehicles. I mean, honestly, I don't want to read through this ones. Yeah, you could do all those one, put AC, put all those, but I don't really care. I know that I was hearing the other time, someone was telling me that his father purchased one of the last Beetle. I'm talking about this type of Beetle, not the modern ones. One of the last produced Beetle, maybe in the 90s or 2000. Those ones had kind of, I won't call it injection system, maybe those kind of engine like the one, I don't know whether I have injectors, normal injectors like normal cars, normal ICE engines, or maybe it had those kind of engines you find in Golf 2 or Golf 3. That it's not necessarily injectors, they are not carburetors, but forgetting what they call that, their fuel delivery system to the engine. So that one, he said he had AC as well. It was new factory. Anyway, okay. So the next reason why to buy Volkswagen Beetle Classic one is, he say maintenance is DIY. That do it yourself. Yes, I agree with this one. They are very easy and simple to diagnose and fix. Then, even though I was using the GL, but then whenever I has any problem, I'll always be the first person to check. Some most times I'll be the one to fix the problem. Though we had a mechanic, Volkswagen mechanic at that time, the person that fixes these cars for us. Eventually, what happened was, to cut it short, the 1500 kind of died. Was a horrible death. I'll explain maybe towards the end. So we now had to go and resurrect, because the other one was parked uh, in our hometown, that is our village. We now had to go and resurrect it. At the point, it was forgotten, so the whole tires were flat, so many things. So I'm trying to remember what happened, whether we swapped in the engine or rebuilt the engine. I can't remember. I honestly can't remember what happened. But eventually the other one died, the 1500. So moved this 1300 and started using that. So this thing, this is not a stock engine bay. Um, Unless maybe there's a model I don't know about. Like I didn't see it. So, but I know 1500, 1300, 1600. Yeah, not this. This is not how. The air filter element is different from this. This is aftermarket, obviously, unless it's new. This type of thing you will not find it on the stock engine. This appears like a heavily modified engine. Um, I don't know. Like this one, the old one, like I know, 15, 16, 13. Yeah, what they call, yeah, this thing is generator, not alternator. It's completely different from what we know today as alternator. It's very long. Um, Man, this is bringing good memories to me. I'm not sure this was the carburetor then that was mounted on both the 1300 and the 1500 I used, even the 1600. Trying to remember. We didn't have 1600 then, but we have neighbors and people that owned the 1600. I think this is not the stock engine. It could be anyway. Like I said, there are so many models that didn't enter Nigeria, so who knows? Um, so I will just keep. Okay, no, you might think that oil change will be the simplest at home vehicle maintenance, but on some cars it's not. Fortunately for Volkswagen drivers, it's easy to see and access everything on a Beetle. What's more, everything is strictly mechanical. You don't need computer diagnosis or fancy equipment to work on a Beetle. Yeah, you're right. Everything is pure mechanical. Um, yeah, very easy to access. The only thing I knew that can be, let's say, a pain in the ass. I don't think it was that difficult. You see, this is the spark plug areas. It's four cylinder, flat four cylinders. Like it's not in line. They're not in straight line. So some will say a V, but not V because it's not like this. So like this. So the cylinders are like this. So the spark plugs are all positioned like this, not like this or like this. So you can see the two here, and this will follow the spark plug lead. So this is the distributor. So there are some cases where I'll probably misplace the spark plug spanner. Very short. Remember, there's not much space here. So it means I'll have to look for, because I have my GL then, the spark plug spanner, which is much longer. So it means I have to look for who to follow the short plug spanner to be able to remove because there's no space. If you put long one, you won't be able to, even if it enters, you won't be able to remove the spanner when you lose the spark plug. Then if not, what else? The oil cooler is behind the carburetor. There's one big oils, like not a cylinder, one metal, it looks like a cover. Then the oil cooler is inside it. I remember one time our own failed, so we had to change it. I mean, man, I remember this is where you pour the engine oil. This cover here, if you remove it, you pour the oil and drain the oil from under. This is the oil gauge, oil dipstick. This is oil dipstick, more simpler than even the Pojo ones. It's very short. Remember, the engine is flat, very small engine. Um, Man, I wish I could find another 1500 to just look at, to remember all the things. I mean, I used to work on this car all by myself. Especially the carburetor. The carburetor wasn't funny enough. It wasn't giving me any issues compared to the single barrel carburetor in Pojo cars. That, what's it called? That Solar something. So, I mean, This one was the simplest carburetor I've ever used. You know, I mean, it hardly give problem. All I do is mostly service, just service it. But the Pojo own, you keep thinking it, you are adjusting, tuning it, good times. Um, Learning a few basic maintenance tips and tricks for Beetle will keep your car on the road more than in the shop. Mhm. Yeah, if you do run into some common issues while out and about, parts are fairly easy to come by. More on that later. And there are some DIY hacks to get by until you can get into the shop. It was the cheapest car to maintain. At least at that time I was using the car. Those cars were in the family. It was the cheapest. Not saying they were the most durable cars at that time, but the cheapest to maintain. Parts are very easy. I've done so many work myself. See, there was a time I don't know if I've told this story. Yeah, maybe not because I'm not actually done any video on Volkswagen Beetle. So there was a time my father traveled with the 1500 from Oka then to my hometown Okuzu. Then I was in Enugu, I was staying with in my auntie's house with my cousins. Okoli, that's their name, their surname. Shout out to Lisa, Belle, Chinenye, and Chinedu Okoli. So, and my uncle, Mr. Godwin Okoli. They did a lot of good things for me. So, I was at their house, and my father, traveled from Oka to my hometown, Okuzu. And while I think what now happened was the front ball joint on the left side. Yeah, the driver's ball joint full separate. Is it the ball joint? I don't remember the name. Yeah, it was a ball joint. Yeah, ball joint. Yeah. So well, I can't remember. Yeah, I think it separated or it broke. I can't remember what happened. So the car couldn't move, or he managed to move the car as he pulled out partially or something. So he now managed to push the car. Where it happened was very close to one of our relations in our hometown, but not in our house. So, but not very far, maybe like 2 kilometers. So my father got back to town, and I wasn't at home. I think I went out in my auntie's house. I got back and she told me that my father called. Uh, Called, yeah, at that time they were using landline. So called and said, "Oh, that please, again, that the Beetle broke down in the town. Please, can you come and help me fix the car?" Um, hmm, just imagine that. I mean, even though I mean, it looks like they didn't have mechanic, but he said he preferred that the one to fix the car, that it would be more comfortable and beautiful. What did I do? I said, okay, fine. The next morning, remember at that time I didn't have any phone, no GSM at that. There was nothing like GSM then. This thing happened, even if there was, there is only very few people that had GSM phone. But this thing happened like 2000, maybe like 90, no, not 1999, maybe 2000 or 2001. Around that time. So what I did was I came back the next day. I left Enugu straight to Oka. When I entered our house, met my mother. My father was not around. My father has that same day he went back to my town, expecting that I would come. Like I said, there was no way I could talk to him. I didn't have phone. He didn't have phone. Nobody in my home at that time had any phone. Get my mother say, "Hey, so where is he?" He has we went back to the hometown. Guess what I did? My two boss, that time you need to see I didn't have a boss, man, where I keep my tools. Wow. So my mother now explained actually that that my father mentioned was something like bow joint, so immediately get that description, I knew what it was. Took my tools with big hammer, took a public transport. straight to my town, went to our house and met him there. So he now took me to where the car was. When I got there, the woman there came out, the I don't know whether they see her from I don't know. A woman came out from the house. I was like, "Oh, are you the Kenna?" Wow. He said, "Wow." I mean, that she envied me. She envied that someone that the way my father was so proud for someone to say no. I trust only my son to fix my car, so I'll rather wait when he's around. Because that's when that happened, people that came to help to push the car to the house were telling my father, "Oh, we have mechanics that can come and fix the problem, whatever it is, they will do that." My father said, "No, don't worry, leave it. I have somebody that can fix it, my son." That I mean, it could be. She was imagining that she had a son that can be that. I don't know how to put it. That you could call on or that have this kind of knowledge. I check the vehicle, remove the tire, pull out uh the hub. Yeah, I lose the hub, remove the hub, remove this thing, use my marker, the chisel, everything, knock the this thing out, losing it, remove the broken ball joint. Um but I think at that time my father has already gotten another ball joint. Yeah. So I think she communicated it to my mother that if I am coming, that he has gotten another one, new one, or use I can forgotten. So there was no need for me to. So I changed it here, put it back, put back the hub, jack down the car, boom. We drove back to Aka with the same car. That same day I left back to for Enugu. Enugu to Aka one time. You see? Could say if you use public transport, maybe close to an hour drive. Much less, but like I said, commercial it can take much longer compared to private. So, I mean, my point is, yeah, I understood Volkswagen Beetle that good to go that far. Not just about checking the spark plug or checking the condenser or checking because yeah, it has a distributor with that works with condenser. Checking this. So I know this car very well. That's what I'm saying. So I used it and enjoyed it. You know. So for example, a common issue with classic Volkswagens, according to my mechanic, is the throttle cable snapping off because the gas pedal is connected to the engine by way of cable that runs from the front to the back of the car. Any rough edges within that compartment can eventually saw through the cable. I'm trying to remember if ours had failed at any time. I mean the cable, the throttle cable. Yeah, he's right. It's the cable is long. Remember, the engine is at the rear of the car. So the cable has to be that long from all the way from under the steering wheel where the pedals are to the back of the engine. So it was a long cable. Um, I think somehow I think our own has failed. The reason why I'm saying that is um I think the cable passed through the battery apartment, if I'm not mistaken, because the battery is at the back seat. This is the driver's seat, so the battery is mounted at the under the back seat, this side on the right side. So if you want to access the battery, which cause some issues, if you put big size battery, sometimes it can breach because the rear seat, if you remove it, it has metals under it, like springs and the rest. So, and there's a bar, metal bar that cross on the seat. So if you put big size battery that more maybe let's assume more than 45 amps or so, so big, and that it start touching that frame. What will now happen is it can cause fire and burn the car because it's not touching especially the positive end of the battery terminal. So what we are doing there was, I think we couldn't the I can't remember, but irrespective of which battery size we put, we'll have a spare tire. Then we'll have that, not spare tire, I mean, tire tube. So what we did was we now cut the tube big enough and fold it. will still be flat and big enough. So we place it on top of the battery to cover both the positive end and the negative terminal end before we drop the seed, so that no matter what, none of the terminal will touch that seed or any metal part. Some people, I mean, there are times you will make the mistake and you forget to press that thing. Maybe the battery you put is too big for it. As you are dropping it, once it touch that, it will give one big spark. So I think we've had cases where I can't remember exactly where that cable passed through. It's as if it passed through the tunnel or from that battery side. The only one I will remember is the clutch cable. Man, that was hell. I think either one of our, I think the clutch cable at some point broke. I can't remember. Then we now have to buy another one and channel it differently, or maybe we didn't. I can't remember. I know the two cable, both the clutch cable and the throttle cable, all passed to from the front under the steering wheel. That's from the pedals to the engine. And I believe they pass through the engine from inside the car under the carpet, or maybe because there's a tunnel from the engine bay, from the boot which is in front, that pass from under the car to the engine bay. So maybe it entered into that. I think it coming from under that tunnel, enter the cable side. See, memories, good time. Honestly, see, I had good times. I mean, you see, that's the thing. One thing about life, when you are having some of these challenges, you are fixing your car. You only appreciate it when you probably 5, 10 years later, you now realize it was actually good times. You are actually enjoying life at that time. You know, those manly things you are doing, which unfortunately these days children, men can't engage their sons in stuff like that, because everybody now is go and read, get good grades, so I become a doctor, become this. In other words, your son is just there, nothing, no skill. It can't be able to fix things, which is what men are known for. Nobody can fix it. Nobody is there. Everybody, even your son doesn't even know what is the difference between your plug and this. All he knows, he knows how to start your vehicle and drive. You know, and most times that's the mistake I tell people. If you have the resources or money and your son is old enough to have a car, you decide to buy a car for the person. Don't buy that person a brand new car. Don't buy a clean car for that person, as in a car with no issue. No, go and buy a used vehicle that have issues. Not necessarily the one that will, because you still have to come from you to finance the maintenance and the repairs. But get one that he will have to start doing some of those repairs himself. I don't know if for your daughter, fine, you can do all those things, but your son, come on, they are men. At least about to be men. Why are you making them so soft? Everything, I don't get it. These days, when I look at people's sons or boys, I just, man, that's not how we grew up back then. I mean, then we are trained to be independent, not just be independent, to be able to, if anything happens tomorrow, you can survive. If for anything there's no life now, there's no civilization, and everybody had to go back into the wood. Right now, I can survive. I know how to do so many things on my own. I can figure things out because my brain has been programmed from childhood in that kind of way to be able to figure things out. But now, if you bring it up, hey, no, come on, that's a chaotic way of doing things. Or in fact, now, if you subject your son to that kind of thing, it will be regarded as abuse. Anyway, um, in my case, I went to at least 5 turtle cables before my mechanic finally ordered a heavy duty one. And anecdotally, it's possible to string together a few shoelaces, feed them through the throttle cable opening, and accelerate by way of pulling a shoestring. I don't recommend it, but I've had it. It works if you have nothing else. Honestly, maybe our own have caught, because I remember we had that. That's why I remember the battery side. I remember that there are cases where we had to, because of one of the cable, either the clutch cable or the throttle cable, whenever it cuts, we now have to work it from there all the way from to by that battery side. I can't remember honestly. But I know to do that we had to remove the, or maybe what we now did was maybe when the original one cut, the one the car came with, you now introduce aftermarket, probably the one will have to pass through a different place to get to the engine bay. Yeah, it's most likely because the reason why I remember this is I never had a cable, throttle cable issue in my 504 GL back then. No, even the clutch cable because it used hydraulic, so there was nothing like cable. It was only the throttle cable. I never had issue of cable, throttle. In fact, anything cable back then in the 504. The only time I even touched the cable was when I converted the car back again to double barrel carburetor. Because when I started using the car, my father has already converted the carburetor. So he removed the double carburetor that was there and put single carburetor that was giving me hell. When I put back the double carburetor, so I now had to go and get the cable so that I can be able to work with the double barrel carburetor. Since they are not the same. So that was the only time I knew I touched that cable, the throttle cable. So I knew I did some work, cable issues on the Volkswagen. Most likely it cut. So it could be telling the truth that it was an issue, just I forgotten. So one of the reasons again, like you said, to buy Volkswagen Beetle is enjoyable to work on. Um yeah, I've already described, yeah, calling under cars isn't everyone's idea of fun, but if you enjoy tinkering with your car, an air-cooled engine is delightful to have in your garage. Yeah, like you say, it's an air-cooled engine. So, I mean, you enjoy doing that. At that moment, you might be cursing, you know, maybe you want to remove something, something will break. You'll be like, "Ah, God damn it, this car." You may even want to slap the car or walk away and go and take a bottle or two to calm yourself down because of how stressful it probably it was to remove that thing, or choosing or refusing not to remove, or trying to figure out how do I remove this broken part. There's no tool for that or this. Few years down the line, you'll be like, man, that was one of the best times in my life. Even though it was a challenging issue at that time, man. See, no, these cars can be done. And one thing about this thing, after you must have fixed that problem, you feel so satisfied, the inner gratification, as in nobody around you might even feel it. You won't even care about any other person. The way you feel inside that, man, I did this. Nothing else is as good as having that inner satisfaction, as in nothing can quantify it, trust me, compared to the external validation, people tend to look for when choosing cars to buy. Yeah, so one of those things, if any woman looking at it might not understand, this is minor thing. So I'm not expect you to understand. You know, most time women think that we do things to impress them. Everything we do is to impress women. Trust me, if men actually start doing what really makes them happy all the time, most women might find some of the things we choose to do very, very, I don't know, annoying. Let me put it that way. Very annoying. You'll be surprised. These are things that probably at that time may not even have any benefit to the family or the house. Sort of, because if the man is stable and happy, why won't there be the family will grow? I mean, there shouldn't be I don't know. That's not what I'm here for. The first reason a classic Volkswagen is enjoyable to work on is simple and straightforward. There's not a whole lot that can go wrong. If something does go wrong, it's pretty easy to see what the problem is. Another peg thanks to a lack of electrical component. Yeah, that was one of the reasons. I mean, what? Come on. How many electricals do we even have on that car? Except the few switches. Oh, the taking lights. Yeah, well, not gonna bother about it. The switches, there is the headlight switch, the signal switch. No, the headlight switch, where is it, sir? Is it on the dashboard or on the behind the steering wheel? I know the signal switch is, I think this side or this side is very short. It has step. No, no, not the signal switch. It's the wiper switch on this side. It has like three steps. Which you take it up, not down. If I'm not mistaken. It doesn't have that automatic wipe that I can wipe, and stop. Then a second or 2 seconds at a time. Well, no, that one is, normal, then fast one. So two step. Actually, the two that we use, 1600 and the 1500, no, 1300 and 1600. That's how it goes. So these are like the electrical thing. The fuel gauge was pure mechanical on the 1500 that we used. Pure mechanical, controlled by cable. The fuel gauge. Remember, the fuel tank is in front under the bonnet. So it was pure mechanical. And because why I'm telling this, when the 1500 on the cable cut, fuel gauge cable cut. So they couldn't fix it. So I think what happened was I went to price it somewhere in Oka. The price was too high for me then. My mother who owns the car didn't even care. They didn't care whether it's working or not. So I couldn't afford to change it for her. So what I now did was, one of the times I went for holiday to Enugu, that's where we are staying. My auntie's house then was at inside UNEC, University of Nigeria Enugu campus. That's Ogini layout. That's where we are staying there. So uh, when I went for one of the holidays back then, this thing will happen like in 98 or 99. So I removed the fuel gauge with the cable that went straight to the tank, fuel tank, took it to coal camp, coal camp Enugu to Tinker. Immediately they saw it, because I went there with the hope that I'll get it cheaper there. But they said, no, no, what do you mean cheap? No, we can fix it. The person took it within less than 10 minutes. I'm telling you, I'm not lying. Less than 10 minutes, he came back and gave it to me. So it broke at the edge where there's something like a ball that is placed on the uh there's one mechanical that comes from inside the tank to outside that moves. So it now puts another ball there. So the only thing is the cable was shortened a little. So because I didn't bring the remaining part of that broken one, that was mistake I made. It was still I left it. I broke only the cable, thinking that I will use it to find. I thought that if with the gauge is attached on the cable is attached on the gauge. So thinking that at least with the cable and the gauge I got together, they will know the exact length without giving me the wrong one. So what they did, they put back that same thing that broke from that is still on the fuel tank. So but by the time I came back, how much? Very cheap. That was at 98, 1999. 2000, can't even remember the price. It was too cheap that I immediately paid. I didn't price it, the repair. So what happened when I now put it back, came back from the holiday, mounted it back. The gate started working, but the only thing now, instead of it to get to that's the empty side, if we're finishing, you just be a little bit above it. So what you now mean is you don't need to wait for it to get to that empty side to know that your fuel has finished. So over time we could now tell where the empty tank is. Just a little bit above. Is it empty or half? I can't remember how it was on that this thing. However, but the 1300 we had that time, the 1300cc Beetle had electric gauge. Yeah, had electric gauge. So, however, the 1500 then, which was assembled in Nigeria, had so pure mechanical. I can't remember even the engine bay, just a wire that comes from the what's it called, from under the steering wheel that goes to the distributor. What else? Or ignition coil from there to the distributor. condenser attached there. So pure mechanical. So much easy for you to fix. You don't need anything like scan to. You can easily figure things out. All you need is to know the symptom, understand the system with experience. You have to okay, it has to be from this. Man, these cars we are very very fun to work on. Honestly, I mean the modern men these days or children, those the sons or boys, you guys are missing a lot. You have no idea what it actually means to be a masculine man. Growing up to be a, or I would say growing up to be a masculine man. I mean now it's all about can you if you as long as you can muster courage to stop a girl and ask her out and have sex with her and probably find money, marry her, provide. I mean, basically that makes you a man. No, no, not really. Then everything you have to. Yeah. Since beetles are very lightweight, there is also the upside of not needing a ton of equipment. A wheel jack and some tools will probably survive. Different classic Volkswagen weigh 1,600 pounds and 1,955 pounds. Let's see. No, I don't know how to do this conversion. Let's see. Pounds to kg. Uh, so it says weigh between 1,600. So basically 1,600 and 1,055 pounds. So let's use 1,600. So is it actually less than 1 kg? No, less than 1,000 kg. Volkswagen Beetle, less than 1,000 kg. Look at it, 725. I hope I got this thing right. You know, kilogram. Kilogram is kg, right? Yeah. So it's less than 1,000 kg. Because I know Project 206 is about 1,050 kg or so. So it's actually way less than 206, as small as 206 is. Alright, moving on. I hope unless I don't know how to do the conversion well. The relative low weight also comes in handy if your beetle breaks down. It turns out the central muscular person can push the car while a second person steers. If absolute, see, it's not even about one person can be steering the car, only one person can be able to push the car. Only one person can be steering and pushing the car at the same time. Trust me, see, Beetle, I've used Beetle and I know in and out. I remember that time, maybe driving, the car might break down or fuel might finish, and somebody, okay, pocket money. I remember I was looking for that one. As a student then, I rely mostly on pocket money given to me by my parents, my auntie, uncles, and the rest. Even though at some point I started making money as well, doing some jobs to make money. I did a taxi as a undergraduate in university. I run a taxi business with my GL then. So did it for like was it a year or two? So so that time whenever a car I need to most time the car will go up because the fuel finished. We've been managing even though it's almost at the empty tank. It just will it get there before you buy. So if you find I need to push the car up the road, even when you're on the hill or something, all you need to do, as far as beauty is concerned, and you're a man with some, look, I'm not even that huge. Open the door, put it on neutral, handbrake. I think the handbrake worked all too. Yeah, the handbrake was working actually. Remove the handbrake. There's a pillar where the door is, as you open the door, that pillar, you use one of your hand and press it like this. Remove one of your leg. Sometimes remove one leg or remove both legs. Hold the pillar and you hold the steering with one hand. Hold it there and you push. Trust me, it will move. Most times, well, I won't say effortlessly, but one person, that time, only me, even as young as I was then, I will push a Beetle. It was a light car, very light. especially the 1500. But the one that was a little bit heavier was the 1300. I don't know why. The 1500 was much lighter. 1300 was a little bit heavier, probably because it was assembled in Germany. But that one came directly from Germany. So I guess the pan material used in molding the vehicle, probably the German one was heavier than the one assembled in Nigeria, whatever. Yeah, yeah, you could still do two persons, but like I said, one person will be able to do that. This is something I did myself. So I'm telling you what I had or what I think. These cars were fun then. Though most parts are easy to find via catalog or online in my experience, most salvage yards are going to have at least few Volkswagen on hand. Finding parts for a 1972 Super Beetle uh, other super might be challenging, but if your idea of fun you pick auto pass here, a bug might be perfect for you. Yeah, well, I don't live in US, stay in Nigeria, so yeah, you guys have something like junkyard or pass yard and rest. Over here, we just have a market where they sell both used pass and new pass. Um, some cases we have places where they are selected, not necessarily selected, they map out for cars to be um, broken into pieces, or scrapped. We have the scrap cars. So um, as they are doing, you can go there and buy the parts you want as they are dismantling the vehicle. Then there are a few people around here that will also be selling off to such parts much cheaper than in the market. And also there's two scrap cars in the market as well. So it depends. But the most important place to get parts is actually in the market for those of us here. Okay, another reason to buy Beetle, according to this article, is say no smoke check required. Yeah, these are old cars. So what are you checking? Whether I pass emission or what? Man, cares. Um, and no need for me to go to this article. Then it says insurance is cheap. Okay. Over here, I don't know. Basically, all with it's only this thing is mandatory here. What's it called? Um, third party insurance in Nigeria, not the comprehensive insurance. So I can't comment on this one. So it said resistance to damage, another reason to buy. Let's find out. It said classic Beetles don't have airbags. Yes, they weren't mandated for passengers until 1990, passenger vehicles until 1999. If yours was built before 1968, it may not even have seat belts. So safety isn't necessarily a top feature. However, the cars are generally durable. They can even float. Can find old commercials for buses showing tribunal. See, it was when I was in the university that they enforced seatbelt in Nigeria. They made it a law. Maybe the law was there before, but it was never enforced. But it was then. I'm talking about the 2000 from 1999 to 2004 thereabout. No, it wasn't even up to 2004. I think it was maybe 2000. I can't remember. That was when they started. So I remember that time my GL had seatbelt, so it wasn't a thing for me. But our Beetle then didn't have. I can't remember which of the Beetle. Was it the 1500? I said the 15. Maybe the 1500 had seatbelt, but the 1300 did not have seatbelt. I can't remember which one. So I remember then my father now took it to somewhere they had to drill hole and weld stud, something like that, where they could tight the, in fact, the first time, sir, my father, it was very funny. He was using rope because then in Okaten, if you road safety will be on the road. If they catch you, they stop you and not wearing seatbelt. Nobody cares whether the car came with seatbelt from factory or not. Go and improvise, put seatbelt. That's what the law says. The law says your car must have you must wear seatbelt. So it doesn't matter whether the car was made 19 leading, whatever. So he first put rope, and they were not really. They just never made them like this old man. You use rope, tie it there. So until eventually they now went and improvised something. Now, but I don't know which brand of car seatbelt they put. Um, no, I think the 1500. It's not. I remember. I think the 1500 had front seatbelt. The one our 1500 has front seatbelt. I could remember that. The one that didn't have seatbelt was the 1300. If I'm not mistaken, it didn't have seatbelt for the driver or any other one. Wow. Yeah, well, this is Nigeria for you. At least I'm happy the light is back. So I think that's 1500. Yeah, one of them. So um as for anecdotes on the durability of an old beetle, my 1972 Super Beetle killed a deer, a buck no less, and drove away from the accident. The deer leaped onto the road from a sloping hill. So I saw it coming but couldn't get out of its path. Sad day for the deer, no, but not so sad for my car, which drove fine after I reattached the passenger side running board and replaced a headlight. Funny enough, that running board, I actually like that Beetle running board. I don't know if I could show you. I think there was a time one of our own pulled out. We now had to go and weld it back, if I'm not mistaken. You know, it was actually a cool design. That when you are stepping out of the car, you don't need to place your leg straight on the ground. You can drop it on the what's it called? The running board. The running board is not like. I hope that's what the heel guys are running board. It's just flat. Okay, maybe we'll look at it. I'll find one a picture. Let me show you what I'm referring to. Maybe it's different from what he's talking about. Um, um, replacement parts are easy to find. Well, I don't know about US. Maybe there's some site you mentioned here. Um, I need to go to the. It can run forever with some TLC. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, yes. Now look at this is the how the 1500 was it exactly like this? I think it was the 1500. Then this is how the dashboard looks like, pure metal, nothing like rubber. Though the speedometer is different, but it's almost design is different, but same thing because I know the maximum speed on that 1500 is 120 kilometers per hour. While that of the 1300 was it 140 or 160 kilo? I think it was 160 kilometers per hour. So um so this is the fuel gauge. This is exactly how that gauge looks like. Though our own doesn't have this iron here and here, but this is how it looks like. So when it broke, I can't remember which side is the empty and which is full. So I know, let's assume this is the empty side. So this needle here that goes, depending on the quantity of oil in the tank, will probably stay just a little bit here. So meaning that if you buy fuel, um, before it gets to that line, you know that the car can stop at any time. So you don't ever let it. Once you start crossing this line, it means the fuel is about to finish. So that's how I was using it then. But the complete new one was available. Used one with that didn't break was available. But then, as a student, I wasn't even in university then. I've not entered university that time. I think I've just finished secondary school and now fixed that thing. So I had to because I did it for me, not even for my mother. The reason why I did it was at least if I'm driving the car, I can be able to tell when the fuel is out because where did I have the money to fill up tank? So I was only basically buying fuel based only on that 4 liter, either the container. If I go to filling station, I buy 4 liters. Then we were also like 5 liters. People were buying by smallest like 4 liters. Then if you have the money, then you fill up your tank. So on my own, didn't have any radio. This place was closed, blocked with one iron plastic, which you can remove and put radio if you want to. But I didn't bother to put in my own case. There was no radio. Good memories. This is this thing for opening the boot. I remember. I think he has a key. Yeah, I think he has a key. This is the ignition key switch. Never gave us any problem. Don't think. The speedometer is cable. The speedometer cable. I actually had an accident with the 1500. The long story, maybe a different day I'll tell the story. But what happened was I put the the long story. Anyway, the speedometer cable, you connect it at the back of the speedometer, then you run it to the tire. This tire here, the tire on the front left side. There is a hole on the car. When you remove the tire, you have to jack the car, remove the tire. Then where the wheel hub is, um, yeah, there is a hole in the center of where the wheel bearing is supposed to be. You pass the cylinder cable there. There's something there. You now clip it. So as the wheel is spinning, then you'll be running the speedometer. Wow, it's very simple technology. You don't need to go to the gearbox. You don't need to do anything. Remember, the gearbox is behind the car. So it's the speedometer, the cable, the tire that is determining the speed of the vehicle, controlling the speedometer. So it cuts. When I bought the car, it wasn't work. When I started using the car, not necessarily using as I could say, yeah, I didn't take over the owner, but at some point I was like, at least I want, if I'm driving the car, to see the speedometer working. So I went and bought the cable. I bought the cable. I think it was like, who knows, maybe less than 100 naira. Bought it, put it, started working. My mother didn't care, those things. Even if you need to replace the engine, your Beetle shell is the same, or you could swap engines and leave the chassis behind. Uh, hmm, Cheap to buy. Look at what I was referring to as running board. This thing is on all of them. So if you open the door, yeah, you can place your leg here before you now drop down. Drop it on the ground. Depending on the year, Volkswagen Beetle can come cheap. Well, I don't know about US. In Nigeria, I don't think they are cheap anymore. Um, Fun to drive. Don't know. There are a lot of things to consider before I buy Volkswagen, but anyone who owns one can tell you that there are a lot of. Um, well, they are not particularly fast cars. The 1500 I drove, my mother's 1500. I think the maximum speed, as according to speedometer says 120 kilometers per hour. But I think the maximum I push the car maybe like 80 kilometers per hour. I don't know if I think I've done 100, maybe, probably. So, but I chose not to get it to that 120. You know why? Because, I mean, if they are telling you the maximum speed for that car, or the maximum engine can take is 120 kilometers per hour. So why push it to that 120 kilometers per hour? So in other words, you are stressed, you are pushing the engine to its limit all the time. So I don't think I've done beyond that. But of course, remember it's controlled by cable. So I think it was also doing like this as it's climbing up. So sometimes we will know which one is the correct speed you are doing. Consider that the needle and that speedometer will be doing like this. So you can't really tell whether the actual speed is that 80 that is pointing at, because if you when it gets to 80 to see be going above 80 and back to 80. So uh, I mean, mechanical things are just too fun sometimes, even though they were not accurate, stuff like this. But man, um, the thing I would say about Volkswagen Beetle is the 1500. Um, the 1500. The one at our 1500, even our 15 and 1300, they have this rubber, the two rubbers here on both sides or end of the bumper. They are not as plain as these ones. Uh, this one too didn't have it. This is one. This is a better view of that on the board I was talking about. I don't know. That's what I believe is referring to as running board. These cars are already been modified. None of the cars here have that thing. Okay, so there's something about people that I dislike. Not all of them, but this particular one, that 1500. So it was better I gathered that if you are buying a Beetle in Nigeria, especially well at that time now, probably the engine you find in any Beetle now might not even be the original engine. So or they've rebuilt it maybe many times. On the crankshaft, because this car was purchased in Katsina, that 1500 used in Katsina, then some point in the 80s, I think 1985 or so. So we now relocated from Katsina to back to Anambra State. So for the car to do that journey, because the engine doesn't have that strength to do that kind of journey straight without going off, unlike the GL that, according to my father, once it starts, moo, that's how it sounds. Moo. The next time he's stopping the car is already maybe wants to buy fuel or wants to urinate or ease himself or eat. I jump in again. Moo. Nothing like breaking the journey. Nothing like, hey, let me come out and stretch my leg. Moo. Casino to another day was like, is it 12, 13 hours journey? Almost, let's just say average of 14 hours. Constant high speed. Year after year after year. See, people don't understand GL. I don't know how else to say that. Anyway, maybe I'll do a video on that. Um, so now my father needed to move the car. This was like 1985, 1984. He needed to move the car. We are moving, so the car can't stay in the north. So he first took the car, this one. He spent 3 days. The car didn't break down, nothing. But he said he had to, no other option. Otherwise, he might go into flames. So he said he would do, I don't know, maybe 200 kilometers or something. He will stop, enter hotel, stay there, maybe, or stay, find somewhere, stay for like 2 hours. Do another 100 or 200 kilometers or 3 hour journey. Then he will pack, look for a hotel, sleep. The next day, he will enter road again. Do another day. He had to. It's something that GL would take. Like I said, if that time it was always night journey, we leave Kasina, let's just say maybe 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. By maybe 8 a.m. or so the next day, we are already in our house, in our hometown. But the Beetle, as that's why I say, because it's always night journey with the 504, we don't stop. Where will you stop at night? You just keep firing until your fuel is about to get to this thing. You look for a filling station. Then at night, there are filling stations. Country was not as, the security was still better compared to what we have today. That's why people were driving at night. As every Igbo man then in the 70s, 80s in the north, they don't travel in daytime. It's at night. With their private cars, the road is free, the road is tarred well, compared to what we have now, that is dead trap, mostly. Everything you fire till you get to, yeah, gosh. So he had to break the journey up to 3 days. to cover how many kilometers. But what happened now, by the time we got back to this thing, engine started showing sign of weakness. Even though he broke this the channel 3 times until eventually he packed up. Though he didn't pay for immediately, but it took a while. So what now happened was we now called one mechanic, our mechanic that was repairing Joseph, that is his name. We call it Joe Waba, for those who know him in Oka. Still there. So we called him, he came, we did the work at home. So put out the engine, pieces, everything. We now got to the crankshaft and the engine block. So nothing happened to the crankshaft, if I'm not mistaken, but the block was gone. So what happened was, it was a very rubbish design. 1500. I don't know if that applies to all 1500. I'm telling you, the one we purchased then assembled in Nigeria was a very bad use, as in worst design I've ever seen. They didn't use the normal bearing, normal crankshaft bearing. They put one kind of, especially the two, I think it's two main bearing. They one kind of bearing that is not kind of cast. I don't know how to explain that. So permanently attached on the crankshaft. The bearing is permanent. That it looks like something I don't know. How do I explain this thing? This rubber band, you know. Okay, so let's say this is the crankshaft. So this is the bearing. So remember, the bearing is usually two units joined together. One will put on the other side of the block or engine, this one on the other side. But this one joined together, sailed. I don't know how they did it. You can't remove it from the crankshaft. So it's actually the bearing is on the crankshaft journal, as in there, sailed there. Though even though you can you can spin the crankshaft and the bearing will not spin with it. But my point is, so the bearing now started eating up the block where it sits on the block. I don't think it affected the crankshaft. Maybe it did. I can't remember. So it now eats deep into the block to the point that it damaged the block. So that was what really happened. So to now use the crankshaft, because as it was eating up the engine block, was also damaging the bearing. So to now use the crankshaft, the mechanic now had to carefully cut the bearing to avoid damaging the crankshaft, cut it out, remove it, and now bought the normal bearing, the normal one that is separate, you can separate and press on the block. So that you can drop the crankshaft on the bearing, not bearing being part of the crankshaft, because this one was part of the crankshaft. So if it fails, you are meant to condemn the crankshaft. But because we now have to reuse the crankshaft, since it didn't fail, we now had to cut the bearing without wounding those crank journals. I mean, it was a very bad design. The 1300 didn't have that. So we rebuilt the engine, change those bearings, change the engine block, change the oil cooler, the coil rod. No, not the I think he changed the coil rod too. The pistons, I can't remember. Maybe he didn't change those ones. Who knows? What else? Change the tappet. You know what you tell these days the people don't really do full engine repair. They will change only the rings. Well, if it's only engine that, if it's only smoking, fire, but in that, most time when engine fails, like catastrophe, most things inside will fail. So you have to change a lot of things. Change the oil pump, change this, change that. And now it's only change the rings. That's all. So maybe I think he changed the pistons as well. Maybe with the coil rod. Can't remember. No. So that's what I will advise. I don't know about every other person, but if you're buying this in Nigeria, 1500, find out. It might be difficult because they all look, so you can't really tell what the crankshaft looks like, whether it's this type of design or even if it was, maybe the current previous owner have changed it or rebuilt it or stuff like that. So It was a bad experience, but after rebuilding the engine, it started working well up till the car was now abandoned. Yeah, the 1500 was actually. I think what happened? I think my father drove the car to. I think it was it was I think he was driving the car had broke down. I can't remember. He got a point. By that time, I don't bother about the car anymore. So I was using the GM. So he was using my mother didn't even bother drive. In fact, he was like, "You boys, you taking over the whole car. You guys can keep that." So he never even for once asked for. I mean, give my key. Let me drive my car. He just left me. I mean, I was driving the GM. My father was driving her Beetle. So she didn't care. You know, these days, women, they always want to, no, it's my car, it's my car. She was like, all I want is, if we need anything to put, oh, yeah, any of you go and buy. We need something different for the family that any of the car need to be used. You know, I have two people that are driving, two men, so I deal with it. So to her, it was even better for her, according to her. Don't need to be driving. And so I think it was driving to somewhere and the car broke down. Um, Cannot abandon the car. I don't know the first time. The car stayed there. But I think it was close to the workshop of our mechanic. Either it was pushed to that. I can't remember. I think he eventually pushed the car to that place or something. So the man was at the point. The man was like, you know what? I think I'm tired of this car. That my 1300 I stored in the village that nobody is using that is in a very clean new condition. Because remember, he bought the car, parked it in the hometown while he was in Kasina, only use it once in few months or so, parked it again. Until get the point, for years, nobody touched it anymore. So that one was very, very clean, in a much better condition, as in even the accessories compared to the 1500 was like, it was not close at all. That was like full spec or full, what's it call it? There's so many things. So let me go and bring that one. So I can't remember whether what he now did was because at that time the engine was it weak also, the one that was rebuilt. Can't remember. Or did it is that he called the mechanic, they removed the engine and left the car there or something. So he now went and brought back the 1300 to Oka and started using 1300. At a point, the mechanic now relocated, moved his workshop to another place, moved everything. I asked my father, please come and take your car. The car was left on the road, as in the road, not like inside the workshop. 1 month, 1 year, 2 years, three. Yeah, we just abandoned the car till one day we came. We didn't even know what happened. It's like somebody came and towed the car. I don't know. Just abandoned the car there. So that's how the 1500 went. Nobody knew what happened to it. It was abandoned as it was obvious. I think probably the person that uh, took over the workshop maybe started building house and he couldn't find who parked the vehicle in front of his house, which was obvious because we removed even the number plate, everything we removed. So clearly it was abandoned there. So there's nothing that to indicate who owns this car. Not today that you can go and use your car VIN to identify the owner. That time everything was basically manual. Was the VIN even indicated on the body of the car? Was there anything like VIN there? But mostly chassis number. So 1300 used it to, I think it's even still in my hometown. I know at the point they abandoned it in my hometown, you know. Well, that time I was already in Abuja. So the last time I know I saw it, I paid attention. It has rusted badly. So um, I don't know whether it's still there or not. I will talk to someone there to know if that car is even still parked there. I'm not interested. The body has lost padding, so there's no point in there. So that's my experience with the Beetle, and yeah, it's funny now that I'm remembering all these things. So I'm going to put I know this is a long video. I didn't want it to be long, but man, it reminded me of a lot of things, personal experience. So I'll put the video, this article link on the video description so I can come and read it fully. All right, till next video.